My last bet was 4 years ago, and I've recently realized that whenever I have temptations, one thing that really helps me is by visualizing actually placing that bet and taking myself back to the peak of my addiction and reminding myself of what that feeling felt like of having a bet on. Now, I didn't gamble for fun. I never saw it as a fun thing to do that so many people are able to enjoy, but I never saw it that way. I saw gambling as a means to an end, as a way to make money, as a way to get rich quick. And so after my early days of betting and after my early big win, I never saw the appeal of the 20, £30 bets on accumulators or on parlays because the chances of you actually making serious money from that are so slim. So I much preferred putting huge stakes on with a view of making much more money and actually making a serious income from it. But the problem with this is that every single bet I placed had huge weight on it because I was placing thousands and thousands of pounds on every single bet, and so I had to win, and if I lost I was in big trouble. So every single bet I placed, I would feel sick. I'd have my heart completely racing, and if I lost, it was the end of the world. If I won, it was incredible. It was the best thing that had ever happened to me. And so just taking you back to this visualization technique as a way to negate temptations, sometimes I sit there when I'm tempted to gamble and I think, okay, if I place this bet with this amount of money, how is that going to make me feel? And I close my eyes and I remember the sickening feeling, that crushing feeling in my stomach, because it was never exciting for me. It was never enjoyable except for the big wins, and even the enjoyment from those big wins was short-lived, and so it was never really enjoyable for me. As I said, it was always about the money. It wasn't about the excitement. And just reminding myself of this, if I ever fell back, if I ever relapsed into that pattern of thinking that this was a serious way to make money, that's how I would spend the rest of my life feeling. Even if I was winning, I would feel sick constantly, and that's no way to live. So if you're having temptations to relapse, remind yourself, how did that make you feel? Take yourself back in your mind to that feeling, that crushing feeling of a loss, or that horrendous anxiety-induced feeling when you're waiting for your bet to come in. And you'll remember that that's no way for a human being to live, and hopefully it will keep you clear of the relapse.